Hey there, this is Natalie, and it's time for some more interesting stories from the depths of Reddit. Please gently caress the subscribe button for more Reddit videos to relax to, with, I promise you, no AI voices ever. This story was posted to r/amithebutthole by user abjecttax5584. And it's a fully concluded story with updates, and this one really got the commenters talking. The title is, Am I the Butthole for telling my friend his game is stupid? And OP begins, I'm 23 female, he's 23 male. He's my friend, has been since elementary school. He's gay, so there's nothing romantic between us either. Our friend group is very active, but he's not anymore. He's now disabled and unable to do most activities we used to do because he can't walk long distances and his dominant arm gives him problems. He was in an accident at his workplace. He was very depressed for the longest time and still struggles with things. It's been over a year since the accident. While he's not as depressed in general anymore, he does get sad when we go on our trips without him, and he doesn't have good self-image anymore. He's a very handsome guy, and any man would be lucky to have him, but he thinks because he's disabled and his income is disability that he's not fit to date anyone. Anyone real, apparently. Around the time he was feeling less depressed, his sister got him into video games, which none of us in our friend group are into. We like being active, not pretending to be. But a couple of months ago, he got this one popular game and it really turned things around for him. Namely, the fact you can date other characters, which is weird to me. He's grown very attached to this game and tries to talk to us about it. A couple in the group act interested, the rest of us just don't really care. I tried to talk to him about getting out into the real world again, but he doesn't seem interested. Well, once again he tried to talk about this game and this character he really likes, and I finally had enough. I told him no one cares about his stupid game and he needs to find someone real and experience the real world however he can again. No one else said anything and he left to get an Uber home. One of our friends tried to offer him a ride, but he just quietly denied and left. We all went home after, and I got back to find he left our group chats and blocked me. I don't know if he's blocked the others as well. He left me one last message saying, that game is the only way I can feel like a normal person again. I'm not disabled. I can walk as long as I want. I can explore everything. It will allow me without my body hurting. Character might not be real, but he looks at my character in ways I wish I could be looked at. I only get looked at with pity anymore. He doesn't see that. No one I meet in the game does. So forgive me for finding something that brings me joy. It can't replace real life. The character can't replace the love and touch of a real person, but it's as close as I'll ever get. Our friend group had mixed emotions about the whole thing, but when I ranted to my sister about it, she got indignant and told me that I messed up big. She said I was a jerk for making him more isolated and for not entertaining him talking about that dumb game. I told her I just wanted him to experience real life and real people instead of focusing on that stupid game, but she hung up. Maybe I was harsh, but am I really the butthole? Yeah, you're definitely the butthole. I mean, a lot of people enjoy games, I enjoy games, probably you enjoy games. Getting into the interactive stories is part of why people enjoy games. And yeah, it's probably the only concerning thing in his message was the idea that playing the game is as close as he'll ever get to having the love and touch of a real person again. That certainly probably isn't true, and could be a sign that he's still very depressed. But everything else about it, I mean, I can't relate to, struggling with mobility when you weren't before. But there have definitely been times I've used gaming as a kind of coping mechanism. For instance, during COVID, I got really into playing the Yakuza games because we were in a really long, strict lockdown where I live in Italy. And the fact that those games allowed you to kind of walk around urban areas, go to bars, chat to randoms, go to restaurants, all of the things I just really missed doing. as well as, the interesting stories of the games and the fun combat and all of the rest of it. It really did make me feel less like I was cooped up inside all day. I can definitely relate to how the friend of OP feels. It's just a shame she can't. Still, there are some relevant comments to go through before we get to the update. Financial Note 9308 says, "Yes, you're the butthole. I do agree with the sentiment that he'd be better off experiencing the real world, but that was extraordinarily harsh to him. It's a coping mechanism for him, and to some extent, it has helped him get out of a funk. I would have just gently encouraged him to get out there and supported that in any way possible, and just make sure you offer that to him so he knows he is still wanted by you and the rest of the group. That being said, granted, it's something to get him talking again, but it's just a matter of boundaries. I hope that he can recognise that the rest of you want to talk about other topics, and that you all want him involved to the extent he can or will. He does need to choose for himself to get out there in the real world, and I think the best thing the people in his life can do for him is to encourage and be there. Speaking harshly likely has the opposite effect and only encouraged him to retreat into his virtual life." And OP replies, "It's not that he dominates conversations talking about his games, or specifically this one, but I just get tired of hearing about it when he does. None of us like games. He didn't until his sister got him into them, and now that he's into this one, it's his favourite. I think it's ridiculous that he'd go as far as to hang out with us, but still thinks he needs that game to get over what happened. We tried talking to him about doing some things with us, and he tries, but he can't do as much as he used to. I wish his sister hadn't got him into gaming. It ruined him." I hate you, OP. I hate you so much. Here she is replying when someone told her she has no sympathy. She says, "He can either adjust to a new lifestyle, which is what we've been trying to help him do, or he can sit on that stupid game and replace the life he already had with some fake one. I would really rather have my friend back without the gaming." OP on if this is rage bait. The fact that people would be raging about someone not liking some stupid game is pretty sad, and exactly part of the reason why I want him to find something else. Happy Examination 580 says, "Why do you care what someone else likes? Is it your life? No. Okay, then what right would you have to tell anyone what they can or can't like? You can enjoy whatever you like, the same as they are allowed to enjoy what they like. You have no right to be a butthole about what your friend likes. You just sound like a controlling person and awful to be around." OP says, "We've been friends the longest out of anyone in our group. I was the first person he came out to. I was the first one to show up at the hospital after his accident. I refuse to watch my friend get sucked into gaming when he can do so much more with his life." And then there's an update from 8 days later, where OP says, "I'll start this off by saying to everyone who was rooting for my sister in the comments, that was not her. I don't know what they thought that would accomplish, but it wasn't until after that comment that I even called my sister. Actually called my sister. She had a laugh over it before she berated me for the post." Just as a note here, this is referring to somebody claiming to be OP's sister who had left a bunch of comments in the thread. It really seems like it wasn't her sister, so I haven't included all of that in this retelling of the story. But she goes on, "But for the actual update, no, my friend has not unblocked me, and a couple of the others in our group aren't speaking with me anymore either. My stance on games hasn't changed, and it won't. I still find them ridiculous and pointless, and I still think what my friend is doing with that whole dating a character in the game thing is weird. I think anyone who does that needs help. To the one guy who messaged me his email, my sister talked me into forwarding it to one of the friends who isn't talking to me but hasn't blocked me, and told them to pass it on to him. I don't know if they did, and I don't know if those two ever got in contact. I tried to ask, but no one would give me a solid answer." So it sounds like somebody through Reddit was actually trying to hook up with the gamer friend. That's nice. Still, OP goes on, "The friends who aren't speaking to me now apparently have been looking for a reason to not speak to me for a while, and that's all I know with that situation. And the ones who still are have been adamant about not wanting to pick sides. So that's it. I most likely won't log in after this. I only got back in to post this because my sister said she wanted me to reflect a bit more and said it might help since I was keen to air my dirty laundry anyway. Well, it doesn't seem like she reflected very much at all, does it? This has been the first one of these I've read out for this channel where I've just really strongly disliked OP, and the fact that even in the final update there's no sign that she's taken anything anybody said to her on board or tried to see things from her friend's perspective. I think she's just buttholes all the way down. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. This is a fully concluded story with all updates that was originally posted to r/amIthebutthole, which we know isn't what it's really called, but it's what we have to do because it's YouTube. And this story was originally posted by user HauntingWing8451, and it's entitled, Am I the Butthole for Being Distant from Friends Over Their Daughter's Name? Now, I've already read this one, and it's a bit weird. So buckle up, buckaroos, because we're going straight in. OP says, I, 35, Anne, am longtime friends with a married couple, 40 male and 42 female. I've been distant since the pandemic when their daughter was born, and they just confronted me about it about an hour ago. I started distancing when the husband started judging me for not making my marriage work. There were extreme reasons I left that I never really broadcast for my children's sake. Some were very public, which I addressed, but the rest I've kept quiet. But the most recent issue is that I lost a child when I was 18. She was born alive but survived only a few hours. I chose a name for her that I confided in them that was very special to me, a play on family names, but appropriate for a very unexpected and traumatic loss. They used the name for their daughter. I would have no issue with this, but I found out in the Facebook announcement, which brought back some very painful and traumatic memories. I didn't say anything. I don't own the name, but I felt very disrespected that they chose not to even give me a heads up, especially as many in our friend circle know where they got it, and I was put on the spot as far as my reaction. So I just distanced myself from them. Well, about an hour ago I got a message from him that was very angrily worded. Apparently he'd been talking to a mutual friend about me and how I've shown no interest in their daughter, and he mentioned that them using the name without a heads up was very painful for me, and that it had put me on the spot because a lot of people had been asking for my reaction. He called me selfish and a butthole for trying to sully their joy with my pain and making everything about me, and that I should just get over it. She passed away years ago. In my opinion, losing a child is something you never truly get over, and I was never rude. I never spoke badly of them or to them. I won't talk about it with anyone. I've just chosen to protect myself and remain distant. I wanted them to enjoy their daughter. They struggled with infertility for years, and I'm happy for them. It's just painful for me, and I felt very disrespected with how they handled it. Am I the butthole? Was I wrong to create distance in a 20-year friendship over this? Or was my reaction reasonable? Info. They used both the first and middle name down to the spelling. The only difference is the last name. The name was a made-up mix of my mom and grandpa's names, and the middle name was my nickname from them as a child. My mom passed when I was a child, and my grandpa, who raised me after mom passed 3 months before my daughter did. Wow, so this is a really strange one. When I first saw the title, before I read it, I was thinking it was going to be something normal that she'd picked for the daughter's name. You know, she wanted to call it Emma, and her best friend also really liked that name, and so years later ended up calling her daughter that. But in this case, it was a name with particular significance that she'd made up herself based on her mother and grandfather's names, and then a middle name that had been her nickname as a child. So her friend has, for some reason, decided they wanted their baby to be called, I don't know, Elizafred Chuckles or something, even though she has no connection to the reasons for those names. That sounds a bit psychotic to me. Still, there are some relevant comments before we go on to the updates. One commenter says, "Should get over it, she passed years ago. This person is not your friend. Time to distance yourself permanently, not the butthole." And OP replies, "I haven't responded to his email. I'm waiting until I'm calmer, but I can't say I plan to be kind. There will definitely be a clear boundary that they are never to contact me again. I wish them well, but they definitely do not continue to have any place in my life." Another commenter says, "OP, my heart goes out to you for what you've been through. Your reaction and feelings are very reasonable. Definitely do not be kind to that person or allow them close to you anymore. I would even take a screenshot of that email for reference in case anyone in your friend group tries to say you're overreacting." And OP says, "Thank you. I forwarded the email to another friend with a clear statement of my boundaries with them going forward and made absolutely sure they're blocked on everything. I also removed myself from any group chats or Facebook groups we were all in. No one is very happy with them right now." But someone else says, "She should be honoured. This sounds like some dumb childish stuff. Oh, you took my name. Maybe they didn't hit her up because she's emotionally draining, or they just have their own lives, or it slipped. She hit them up tripping out, and I'd tell her to F off as well." OP replied to this one saying, "I'm not even entirely sure you read the post. I went radio silent after their name announcement. He's angry because I won't talk to them or about them. I certainly never hit them up tripping out, as you so eloquently put it. He hit me up tripping out. I distanced myself because I didn't even realise how upsetting just hearing her name would be. Hearing it and being expected to associate it with another child, then having to deal with it while people are blowing up my phone, coming to my house, coming to my job, asking me about it. It was a lot on my mental health. After that, it just wasn't worth the drama to bring it up or be around them. How in God's name is their conduct an honour for a child they never met, never mourned, and never cared about?" And someone else said, "I think the main part for me is they don't have to get your blessing to use a name." And OP says, "They didn't need my blessing. My issue is that I wasn't allowed to process hearing my daughter's full name again for the first time since her funeral privately. I had to do it with my phone blowing up with messages, people coming to my home wanting to talk about it, and people at work asking me about it. Consideration would have been a text or phone call a day or so ahead of time, letting me know they were using the same name and letting me process, instead of being shown the post by a co-worker. It's not a common name. It was one I made up, combining my mum and grandpa's name, and the middle name was my nickname from them as a child. Both had passed before my daughter." And as you would expect, OP was voted not the butthole, but she did add an update. And it says, "So everyone's over at the house, and I mean everyone. Both of my friend groups came over. The friend, D, I sent the screenshot to last night, called everyone, and they're all furious. Her husband, M, called the former friend, A, and let him know that everyone is cutting ties with him and that he is to leave me alone. Everyone was under the consensus that while the way they handled the name was an issue, it wasn't a deal breaker, since I chose to just remove myself and let it go. However, since he chose to attack me unprovoked, simply for keeping a healthy distance, that's unforgivable. This is entirely their own reaction. I did not demand they cut ties with him. However, keep in mind that these are the people closest to me. So when I called D last night, I was simply reaching out for support and to calm down, because my knee-jerk reaction was to say, if you want to go low, I'll go lower, which is very out of character for me. I made it very clear that I was not continuing any contact with A and his wife, but I was not going to dictate their friendships and love them whether they stay friends with them or not. So it seems like, really, I guess that story's concluded, but I don't know, I'd still really love to know why those people decided to choose that name. It really just seems so odd. I mean, maybe the combination of OP's mother and grandfather's name turned out as something amazingly cool, but I still just can't see why on earth anybody would do that. But what do you guys think about this story? Personally, I think OP handled it far more graciously than a lot of people would. but this is certainly one of the oddest baby name related stories I've seen on here, and there are surprisingly quite a lot of them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching or listening today. Please let me know what you think about today's stories in the comments, and I hope to see you again next time.